If you're a Panthers fan, you are very, very familiar with the terms of missed opportunities. Ron Rivera really coined that phrase. So this video, I wanted to look at some missed opportunities defensively, just break down like some plays that were there that could have happened, some negative plays early in the game, during the game, and just in the run defense to show you what went wrong, especially on that 70-yard run. We're going to break that down and just show you what it was supposed to look like and what went wrong. And just bear with me. This could be a little bit of a longer video because they pissed me off, but it is what it is. If you're new to the channel, make sure you are subscribed. You're not going to get Panthers content like this anywhere else. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button, man. Don't waste no time. I'm on my way to 20K subscribers and I'm almost there. We're getting close. We're getting close. So please join the party and hit the subscribe button. Also, giving the video a thumbs up really helps me out in the algorithm and it shows you that you appreciate this work. So come on, come get this work. We're going to talk about some of the missed opportunities in the run game for the defense, but I want to look here to this right side, mainly on Trevin Wallace. This is an opportunity to make a negative play. It ends up being a holding on Turk Wharton, but Trevin Wallace was just slow to move at times in the run game and diagnosing and recognizing and processing. People talk about processing for quarterbacks, but I think it's just as key as linebacker, and that's just something that is lacking for him. I don't know if it's just because he's just playing with a green and black screen laptop in a world where we have MacBooks and iPads, or he's just inexperienced. I don't know what it is, but this was just an awful game from him from the processing department. So let's watch here first. Turk Wharton here lined up with a tight end, and this was a strategy that I thought was very, very smart. They decided to go with this 4-man front and put Turk Wharton on tight ends. He's a defensive tackle, and he dominated these guys that tried to block him for the time that he was here. And you'll see here, he's going to draw a holding penalty as he looks and tries to shed the block. He's there. You can see he takes on the block with great force and boom, shocks the defender, is looking, tries to rip and throw him away, but the guy's holding on. Trevin slow. Watch this. Trevin, when he gets the ball, this play is called duo. So you're going to have double teams here, a double team here. And what the running back's goal to do is to read the second level linebacker. So here and here. If they go, you want to try to be patient. If the linebacker goes into this pile and tries to catch you as you're going patient, you're going to burst here. Or if this linebacker comes up, you're going to either burst here. So Trevin Wallace sees that, hey, all this in the middle is clogged up. So the only place that the running back could probably go is here. He does a good job actually staying patient, knowing that guy is reading him and waits. But at the same time, how does he get beat laterally here? I don't understand how he's not able to get there because he sees it. The only place he can go is coming out to you. He jump cuts and he's square with him now. I know Turk was kind of right there on him a little bit, but he wasn't stepping on his foot. Why isn't Wallace able to move laterally, shuffle, get there and make the tackle? I see them on Instagram at practice doing that drill pretty much every day. And this is the reason for it. Once you see that hole clogged up, he's not going inside. And if he does, you have help on the inside. Why not be able to shuffle? As soon as you see him burst out, why are you so slow to notice that and you can't get your feet going and you get beat to the corner through the hole and he gets up to the second level? Like I said, again, it comes back because of the holding, but you could have possibly got a no gain or even a TFL that maybe you declined the penalty and you put them into a different second and long or something like that. You know, you never know. But this is just missed opportunities in the run game, particularly by Wallace, and we saw this all day from him as a player. Next up here for Wallace is going to be another ugly one here. He's going to have an opportunity for a tackle either for loss or at the line of scrimmage here on the right. He's going to read it actually pretty fast this time compared to typical. He sees the guard pull, gets there, just completely whiffs on the run, ends up turning it to a 6-yard game. And he gets credit for the tackle, but he gives it 6 yards versus it being a tackle potentially for a loss. Let's look at here. I just don't want you to see how fast right here he recognizes this guard. This guard right here is going to pull and lead out in front. He has issues running and recognizing the zone running scheme, as we saw kind of earlier before with that when they ran kind of duo, which is still technically power, but a version of the zone. But when it's just keys like this, where you read your key to see a guard pulling to come around and block, watch how fast he's able to trigger and gets out of his stance and gets going. Look how fast he goes. Look, the guy has taken, 3 steps, and Wallace is already up there in the hole. He's there to get through to the gap, beats the guard there. The guard doesn't really know who to get to, gets through to the backfield. It's all over him and just completely whiffs on the block. It's just crazy to me, the difference in speed from when he recognizes some of the other stuff and how he moves, is able to move laterally and get there physically. But on this one, it's just he does the physical part in terms of the mental part, in terms of processing, getting there, but the physical part lets him down. There's just a disconnect consistently on the physical and the mental aspects of the game, man. It's frustrating to watch because this goes from being second and long to going to second and medium. And, you know, that's the ideal territory for offenses when you're in second and medium. So Wallace it's just interesting to see how fast he triggers and recognizes and diagnoses that, but not being able to make the play. Another opportunity here, 1st and 28 after a holding. You have a chance to get another TFL to put him in another hole. Again, a power scheme. When he sees guys pulling and moving in front of him, he's able to recognize that. It's just he comes in on a run blitz as well, does a good job avoiding that, but gets avoided himself by the running back. It's just frustrating, man, when you see opportunities like this. He squared up with the guy in the hole, ends up getting juked out of his shoes. Oof, does nothing but be able to grab a little bit of jersey before he's left behind, and just it's frustrating because, again, you can see the the down block by the center that's coming right here, and he recognizes, okay, hey, this tight end is moving as well. This guard move that was in front of me that was about to blitz. There's a run play coming. He's able to diagnose, look in the backfield and see what's going on. But it's frustrating, man. Yeah, you end up having your hand in your palms right here because you're frustrated. And it's frustrating, too, for us as fans to see these plays. And this is a guy that we've gotten rid of, Shaq Thompson. We were counting on him even with Josie Jewell being out. They didn't add any other linebackers. But I know he's young still, but come on, man. Like, these are easy plays that he's missing that you can easily put them in second and 30, second and 33. He said 31, maybe like a loss of 3, maybe, but ends up being a 4-yard gain that's going in the second and the 24. I know it doesn't seem like a huge difference, but it is. You know, when you're talking about second and 30 versus second and 24, you know what I'm saying? That's a 8-yard swing right there that you missed out on, man. It's tough to see these missed opportunities defensively. So let's look at the touchdown here. And this one, to me, was on Trevin Wallace. You can see the communication from Rosebloom because this guy right here is going to be leaking across the formation on play action. And Wallace is going to be asleep at the wheel. I talked about how fast he's able to recognize when guards pull, and that's exactly what happens on the play action. But after he sees that, he never realizes that, hey, it's not a run play, and never gets back into coverage. Let's watch it play out right here. Because you can see the play action after the motion. He sees that guard pull. He goes into the gap, but just takes forever to get out, and he gets outflanked by this guy. You can see Rosebloom pulling. So, again, watch. He sees that guard pull, and I talked about how fast he moves if he sees the pull. He went down into the gap thinking it was run. He still doesn't know it's a pass, even though everybody else sees it. You can see the person he's supposed to be guarding is coming all the way across here. Nick Scott is here. Some people thought it might have been his fault, but he's looking at this receiver here that's on the end because this is the guy he's going to pick up off the boot action. And watch Christian Rosebloom right here point out, like, hey, cross, cross, cross. He points to the cross, but Wallace is still, look at Wallace right here, man. Wallace is still looking at this run play, not realizing that this guy does not have the ball, man. Meanwhile, everybody else knows it's play action except for him. And by the time he realizes it, you're 7 yards away. There's nobody home, and the guy's wide open. This is a layup. So this is just, again, the eyes. You're playing with the eyes, not being aware, not having the processing, not being able to connect the dots on, like, hey, listen, this is communication. Rosebloom is telling you that, hey, it's play action, bro. Get out there. But you're not able to put 2 and 2 together to realize what the heck is going on. And now they're dancing in the end zone, man. Just frustrating to see. All right, we'll leave Wallace alone for a little bit. Let's talk about just the lack of ability to take advantage of being able to blitz. This is 2nd and 15 at midfield, 13 seconds left. You're trying to prevent them from getting a field goal. Yes, less than ideal situation because your offense turned the ball over yet again, but you have a chance to, okay, potentially, do we get a sack on him to get them out of field goal range and see that, okay, hey, man, we're not going to give up any more points. We're going down 2 scores in the halftime to potentially get the ball back, and it could really turn this thing around. Can our defense get a stop here? They're going to try to bring a blitz here. That's what Jiro tries to do, but we're one of the worst blitzing teams in the league. Still, the way this is drawn up, I'll go ahead and diagram it. You're going to get Wanham that's going to come in off the edge here. You're going to get Ashawn Robinson that's going to wrap and go in this gap. You're going going to get Pat Jones is going to rush from this side. You're going to get J.C. Horn coming from the outside of the screen. He's going to blitz as well. And then Morig is going to wrap around and blitz in this gap. And then you're going to get Princely. He's going to back off and be in coverage back here. So a little bit of a mix-up. We're going to bring 5 to try to throw them off and overload the right side of this line of scrimmage with 4 defenders. But again, the inefficiency, you're going to see Morig and Ashawn are going to go into the same gap. And so it's not going to be crisp. They're not going to time it up well. They don't disguise it well when they do these type of things. And so it's very, very unfortunate that it's like this. This has been one of the worst blitzing teams in the league. If you can't get at with 4 and you can't blitz, you're really not affecting the quarterback in any aspect of the game. And when you do it in these scenarios, that's how you end up giving up a chunk play that puts them in prime field goal position. So let's go ahead and roll this play just so you can show the blitz come together. And of course, I talked about JC coming in the screen. You'll see it a little bit in a second here, but ends up being nobody really ends up getting closer to the last minute, but it doesn't even affect him. It's unfortunate. So let's watch how it came together. And you can see when Morig blitzes, he's creeping. You can see him creep. And then Ashawn is doing what I said. He's going to come in here and try to occupy these guys. A lot of times when you have these blitzes, when you're that first guy, you're going to try to occupy blockers. And he does a pretty decent job of getting that guy's attention. And again, Moray is going to wrap around here and come into that gap. But instead of, it's supposed to do that. Instead of doing that, he ends up going pretty much in the same gap Ashawn was going to go to instead of around there. And then once he's having to kind of slow his path down to adjust the tackle, the guard is there and waiting on him. And unless you're going to sneak past this guard with just kind of like hiding it, you're not going to win a one-on-one pass rush scenario. So he's nullified there. And then they sorted out so easy because they telegraphed it. The running back picks up J.C. Horn with ease. And JC not going to win that pass rush battle either. Wanham's getting around the corner a little bit, but not enough. The ball is getting ready to get out of his hands, and it's going to be a big chunk play. So let's see what went wrong just a little bit here. Because, again, Ashawn goes across. If you time it up correctly and he's occupied, maybe Morig's able to wrap around properly. He either comes free or this running back sees the most dangerous, and he comes and has to block him. That's going to free up J.C. Horn coming from the distance. And so if you're timing up perfectly and you execute it correctly, it could have sprung either Morig or J.C. Horn free, but it doesn't. All right, here it is. He had to know what was coming. Missed opportunities. I just wanted to break down this big play, the 71 yards, because you're going to give up 3-4 yards here. We don't have an elite run defense. So overall, this was the biggest play. You gave up 200 yards. A lot of it was, some of it was quarterback scrambles, of course, but a chunk of it was 70 yards of it came on one play. If this is the difference between a over 6 yards per carry average and somewhere around the low 4s, even high 3s if you take out the quarterback scrambles, because you give up this one explosive. So let's break down what went wrong. And so on this play, of course, we remember is going to be ETN. He's going to get the ball here and cut back, make somebody and dance, make somebody miss, and then get off to the races. So, of course, this is going to be zone to the left. So you're going to get blocks by all the linemen going down, but it's a split zone. And so a split zone, that means this tight end here is going to come all the way across and kick out DJ Wanham, the backside defender. That way, when all these guys are flowing this way, except this guy, it's going to create a natural void, which is what Travis Etienne cuts back on. The Panthers, they knew this. A lot of it probably came from going against Tampa Bay, where we were getting gashed on these type of split zones every time backside wasn't present to make things happen. So what the Panthers decided to do to counter is everybody on the front is going to overplay to force a cutback. So you're going to get Pat Jones going to set the edge. Derrick Brown's going to flow extra hard here. Bobby's going to flow extra hard here. Ashawn's going to do the same to force intentionally to that cutback because everybody has a gap. This is the gap for Derrick Brown. He's going to protect that. The linebackers have their own gaps. And then backside obviously is DJ Wanham, and then you're going to have Mike Jack on the screen who's backside contained, and then Morig is going to come into the screen as well, and this is his gap right here. So the thing is with the zone blocking scheme, the running back kind of reads the blocks and where the defense is and then picks a spot based on that. The Panther strategy was to, hey, let's overplay that front side, force a cutback so we can dictate where the running back is going to go. If we can dictate where he's going to go and everybody stays in their spot and does their job, we should be able to make the tackle because they don't have anybody to account for Morig in the blocking scheme because he's such a lurker. He's not in the box. Linemen, when they do these schemes and they pick out who they're going to block, they're going based off of who's in the box. And so with Morik not in the box, he kind of is a free runner. The receiver will try to block him, but he can lurk pretty much how he wants in space. So that's an ideal scenario. They really like Morik. He's a quasi linebacker for them. He lined up in the box for them a lot in this game today. But let's see how it plays out, because you'll see the contact and what they decided to do with Wanham on the backside was just intentionally crash there and create a space to make one-on-one opportunities, but it just didn't work out here. So let's run it back to the top. And so again, instead of Wanham, who typically when you have these scenarios, you're going to try to take on the block, keep your outside arm free. A lot of times when we do this and saw this, tight ends, they're just going to try to cut block this guy, meaning take his legs out and get him on the ground. So knowing this, the Panthers said, hey, as an edge rusher on the backside, if you see that tight end coming, just lower your shoulder and create a pile, and boom, you're going to be able to create an alley for a one-on-one tackle. And Morik should be filling this gap, the gap between this lineman and the pile that's created there. It's a little bit full and trashed up, so he assumed that, okay, hey, the only place for the running back to go is to probably bounce it outside. And then once he sees ETN make one jump cut out. Let me run it back a little bit. Once he sees ETN make the jump cut out, because he sees like, hey, there's a lot of trash in here. There's a pile right here. Two guys just jumping here. Morik has, hey, I know my responsibility is inside. Let me check outside and jump out there. But it was a good job by ETN to stay patient, jump outside and set it up, knowing that Wallace is getting washed down and Robinson is getting washed down as well here. Ends up setting it up perfectly. And once that happens, he gets one-on-one with Nick Scott. And I'm going to tell you right now, guys, one-on-one with about 10 yards of space between a safety when you have a two-way go, that is not ideal for any safety, but it's definitely not ideal for a guy like Nick Scott, who has his struggles with tackling. And of course, ends up having an opportunity. He dives at his legs to try to leave his feet there. Doesn't really bring his shoulder pads. Etienne's a slippery guy. He's one of the tougher guys to bring in open space. Gets out of that easily, and he's off to the races. So let's see what really should have happened, because ideally, you want Morik to be disciplined and say, I know that collision happened in front of me, but I need to stay and do my job, stay in this area here and plug that gap no matter what. And then once he commits to going outside, I'll chase him there, because if he stays outside, Mike Jackson is here waiting on the running back if he wants to come outside on that cutback. So Mike Jackson is there. Your help is there. But the fact that you jump out of your gap and the running back hits that, now he's off to the races again, going one-on-one with Nick Scott with a lot of room to work. So it's just not an ideal scenario. I'll draw up another play to show you how it's supposed to work, but this ain't how it's supposed to work, because you see what happens there and we're off to the races 70 yards later. All right, so when you draw this play up, this is how it's supposed to look. Again, you have the tight end to this side. He's going to come and block backside and try to kick out Pat Jones. Again, everybody's going to play this way very extra hard to make the cutback happen. Morik is here already in that alley this time to be there for the tackle. This is how it's supposed to do. Everybody's going to do their job. You're going to see a collision between Pat Jones and this tight end. And again, boom, look at that alley. Look at the alley for Morik. He's sitting there waiting on him, and he ends up making the tackle. It only gets 4 yards. You see Mike Jackson coming to the screen late, had the running back try to bounce it outside. But let's run it back and see how they played it again. And because ETN is looking this way, he's reading this block of Bobby Brown and everything else going left. And so when he gets the ball, look, Bobby Brown, he's overplaying this. The edge is set by Wanham. Good job overplaying this. Derek Brown, he's overplaying to this play side here that if he tries to come this way, they're going to be all over it. So it's intentionally forcing that cutback. As you can see, he could try to bounce it back outside if he wants to. But again, Mike Jackson is there. Pat Jones sees that block coming from the tight end, intentionally just has a contact with him, doesn't even really try to take on the block because he knows the guy is trying to cut him, goes low to try to get lower than him because he knows the guy's going to try to make that cut. But Morik is clean now, because the receiver can't get to him. Moore is able to easily fill that alley and goes inside of that crash out block and is able to make the play. That's how it's supposed to look. The fact that Wanham was kind of in the trash and the hole wasn't as clear made things a little bit too easy, because Yeah, the lineman from backside is going to try to create an alley for that cutback, but Morig is not accounted for in the run game by that lineman. And again, he goes unblocked and is able to make the play. This is how it's supposed to do it. When it's sound and everybody does their job, it can look beautiful and look like it's supposed to do. But when one guy doesn't do their job, it throws off everything. Let's watch it one more time in action just so you can see what happens when everybody does their job and he tries to bounce it outside. He gets it, automatic cutback, and you see Mike Jackson there to make the tackle for loss. Let's watch how it goes up again. Again, we're going to play it very, very heavy. Front side, look at Bobby Brown. He's overplaying his block this way. Pat Jones has the edge set, and I don't know who this is. Maybe Ashawn getting double teamed here. So there's not any room to go on this side. So they're going to force the cutback. You see this tight end right here trying to come backside for Nick Scorton. And they know what the job to do. You have to just bank. You're not going to take on the block. You're just going to try to get him because you know he's going to try to cut you, get as low as him. He ends up banging, and as closest Nick Scorton's able to do it, he closes that backside gap. Here's Morig, our running back right here. Morig is coming to be in position as well for that cutback whenever it happens like before, but the receiver is able to actually get to Morig, and it causes a holding. But this receiver he left the block for Mike Jackson, and he ended up trying to crack on the safety because offenses think they have a good chance of beating a cornerback in a one-on-one tackle scenario, trying to get a quote-unquote back on a back. And so they'll take their chances there. But in this scenario, Mike Jackson does a good job of closing the airspace, knows that the guy's going to try to fake outside, and he has outside contained. So whatever he does, don't let the guy get outside of you. So he overplays outside, forces the cutback, able to get that arm and that shoulder on that knee to flip him up over in them and get him out of there. And this is also a holding on this play. So you can see Morig is in position, ends up getting held by the wide receiver when he sheds the block because he does a good job getting in position and beats him to the spot. He's there, but Mike Jackson there as well. That's what happens. If he wants to go outside, the cornerback is there. Morig does a good job no matter what, sticking to his spot, staying on the inside of that block or trying to stay on the inside of that crackdown block and do what he's supposed to do. And again, once everybody does their job, it looks pretty sound, but when they don't, it can get ugly, and the 70-yard run got ugly. All that being said, I think the run scheme that they tried to do was very, very sound in terms of the idea because of what we saw in previous matchups, but they just didn't execute on a play-by-play basis, as you can see from a few of these plays, and it ended up being a 200-yard day yet again for the 7th time in a row. No comment on the pass and coverage scheme, even though we didn't give up that many yards. There's just some scenarios and down and distance stuff that I kind of showed you there with the blitzes that really, really bothers me just because the lack of execution, whether it's coverage or blitzes, it just seems like there's always somebody either out of place, one thing is thrown off and it throws off the whole play, and we end up giving up a big play, whether it's a first down or a touchdown. Who knows?